my book in Turkish, obviously. She is the one who actually translated it. So, I don't know how much do you know about Simurg. You know the bird of Simurg. I don't know if you ever read the book called Mythical. Any of you guys read in Farsi? But at least a translation of the book called Mythical, which means the language of, or the conference of the birds, written by a Persian / Turkish. We always say Turkish. We always say Persian. Writer called Feridettin Attar, and he's a great writer. He lived in the 12th century, and he wrote this wonderful book. And I copied, and I tried to make it available for young generations, because this is one of the books that was not known by the young generation, and I tried to modernize it as much as possible. And I just want to tell you about the story of this book, because that's the real book, Feridettin Attar's book. Do you know, how many of you guys know Rumi? Rumi. None of you guys know about the Feridettin Attar. He is the one who is the teacher of Rumi, actually. Not many people know about him. When they first met, Feridettin Attar was like 60 years old, and he is the friend of Rumi's father. Rumi's father was one of the most important scholars at that time. But Rumi was 6-7 years old, and when Attar saw them coming, he said, "There's a lake coming which is pulling an ocean behind him." And that was when he was like 6 years old. So he had this book, the Conference of the Bird, and he gave that book to Rumi when he was 6. And Rumi read that book, and it was so big of a deal for him. And when he wrote Mesnevi, his famous book, he actually said, "I was influenced by this specific book called Conference of the Birds." The plot. Let me talk to you about the plot a little bit about this book. This is a book about a journey that was made by millions of birds to be able to reach the birds, which is called Simurg. Simurg is the bird that nobody has seen so far, but everybody thinks it's the sultan, the king of the birds. And it has a meaning in every civilization. The Turkish word for Simurg is called Anka, Zümrüt Anka, the bird that is behind the mountains of Kaf. Never seen. Anybody has seen the bird. And in Persian it's called Simurg. In Greek it's called phoenix, the bird of phoenix. You know. So everybody knows this bird, but nobody's seen this bird. And the millions bird, they said, "We want to meet this bird because this is like the sultan of the bird." From the perspective of metaphysics, it represents actually God, Allah. And the Muslim religion, Allah and God. So it basically symbolizes the journey that we make to meet God, actually. So millions of birds get together and say, "Okay, we want to meet this guy. We want to make sure, we want to, once in a lifetime opportunity, we want to see him." And they said, "We need a guide." So they find this bird who becomes their guides in this journey. The bird is called Hut Hut and I don't know if there's a translation. What was the translation for Hut Hut? What do we call it? I don't know. But he's the guide. What do we call it? Hoopy. Hoopy. That's the bird that's going to guide them during this journey to meet Simurg. This bird said, well, we're going to get into this journey. Are you sure you want to come to this journey? Because this is a very difficult journey. We're going to go through several valleys and they're all going to be like, there's dangerous stuff going on over there. So, are you sure? Then all those birds said, yeah, okay, let's go. They get together and then they started this journey and then they come to the first valley. And like, let's say we have 1 million birds, 500 of them gets lost in the first valley. Now, what's that valley? Let me ask you the question. I'm going to ask you the questions. I'm hoping one of you guys read the book. Well, the first valley is the most dangerous valley of all. It's very difficult to get past. And again, this is the journey of the birds, but also this is the journey of us, trying to meet God, or trying to meet the metaphysics, right? What is the first valley that's gonna, that has a lot of dangers? One of the most difficult valley to pass through because it is very difficult to get past that. What is that valley? The valley of that. You can guess it, we're all together. We're like a family, so you can just guess or make it up. It doesn't matter. What was that? Ego. Ego is like, okay, well, yeah. Ego, all together, everything stops with ego, that's for sure. But that's even before the ego.
Anger.
Anger? You can make it up. Yes, you can. That's fine.
Desires.
Sure.
Like prejudice? Like
Prejudice?
dogma?
Absolutely. That's one of the things that makes us stop during this journey. But this is even before that. What's that? Nefs. Yes, perfect. Nefs, throughout the whole journey, it's with you, with us. But that's even before nefs. Okay, I'm going to give you some clues, maybe, right? This is basically in Muslim religions. How many of you guys are Muslim? Okay, fine. The Muslim guys know before you start any ibadat, before you start any kind of like prayer or stuff, you do something. What's that? Cleaning, wudu, okay.
Intention.
Nia.
Intention. That's the first valley. Meaning, we try to make a decision, but without that intention, there's no way that we can start. There's no way that we can actually start that journey. It's like us starting a diet. Every Monday we start a diet, and every Wednesday we stop it. Because we don't have the intention, we don't have the real intention. You know, we don't have the niyat.
I think it's called willpower.
It's called willpower. Yes, it's called willpower. And yes, if you don't have that, you're gonna be lost during that journey. And that's the first, the most difficult valley to pass through. And 500,000 after 1 million birds, I'm just making up the numbers, but half of the birds get lost during that valley because they don't make that intention. And in Sufism, we have this very important bird called bülbül neydi? The bird
Nightingale.
sounds, huh?
The nightingale.
The nightingale.
Oh,
The nightingale.
Nightingale.
There's always this bird. It's very important in the the Sufism. Yeah, the nightingale. There's always this relationship between the nightingale and the rose, right? And it usually is very important. In all of those books that we read about Sufism, they have this symbolism of nightingale and the bird, the rose. But nightingale is one of the first birds that get lost. Why? We always say nightingale and rose, they get together. They're always together.
Talking so much.
What's that? Talking so much? That's why they get lost? Maybe.
Oh, no, he couldn't get rid of. He didn't want to lose the rose.
She didn't want to lose the rose because the rose is in this world, right? Rose is not there. Rose is not out behind the mountains of Kaf. The rose is here. Why would I go to? Why would I go there? It's too much work for me to go through all that valleys and everything. So why would I go? So that's one of the first birds that actually get lost during the journey. Okay, so half of the birds get lost, and then there is a second valley. What's the second valley? There are going to be a lot of birds that are going to be lost in that valley too. It is very important for humankind. I'll give you some clues. It's the most important thing for humankind. Yes?
Love.
Love. The second valley is the valley of love. Okay, why is this a hindrance? Why is this a stopping point? Why people get lost, birds get lost in the valley of love? Why is this a bad thing? Or is this even a bad thing?
You think that you found what you're looking for.
There you go. There you go. The love is, the actual love is it's different than the love that we think what love is. In Sufism we say every single person, even every single thing has a reflection of God Himself. We all have reflection of God. We all are mirrors in such ways, not the perfect mirrors, but mirrors with, some problems. But we all have the reflection of God. So when we are in love with somebody, that means we see the reflection of God in that person. So we get in love with that reflection, thinking that we're in love with that person or with that thing, right? Once God decides to take away His reflection, then we lose the love. Then the love is over. So the only love is actually the love of God, or the love of Allah, or whatever you guys call it. The love of that. But most of the birds get lost in this valley, thinking that the actual love that they have is the love of that valley, right? Because it's the love of the valley of love. So half of the guys we lose there. Yes?
Can you compare it to something like the apparent truth versus the real, the ultimate truth? Is it more like,
What is real?
right, can you think of it?
Right, they said it in Matrix, right? What is real?
Right.
The real love, what is that?
So love of this world, isn't that in that valley?
The love of this world is actually right in this valley. Exactly. Everything that we love in this world is a reflection. It's not the truth, it's the shadow. It's like I don't know if you guys read Socrates. There's like the cave thing going on. There are some people get stuck in the cave looking at the reflection of stuff, but they can't get away because they can't They always lived there. They think that's their reality. And one of them, Socrates himself, I guess, he gets out. He gets rid of the chains, and then he gets out, and he sees the actual world. And now he sees the sun. He sees the river, and he touches them. And now the reality is different. Then he goes back to the cave and asks the guys, let me take you away. Let me save you. I guess that's the real word. Let me take you out from the cave. And they said, no, that's not real. Outside is not real. This is our reality. And that's the love we have in the second valley. And a lot of birds get stuck in the valley, like us. Again, this is not the journey of the birds. This is the journey of us. This is the journey of myself. If I can pass to this third valley.
So it's kind of this illusion with this world and not even realizing that.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what the world means in Arabic? The word world is dunya. I don't know if you guys heard the word dunya. Dunya is the word that goes with the world. What does it mean? Anybody knows what dunya means? Huh?
Up.
Up?
It's like the lowest level. Danya.
Dunya in Arabic means the lowest level. The lowest level of all. So once we come to dunya or world, that means we get into the lowest level. That's not where we belong. That's the lowest level of humanity. Now we need to go up. That's what Socrates is claiming. You guys are down there. You're not. That's not your world. We have to go up. So the third one, the third valley. Now, what's more important than love? Well, I guess that's philosophical. Thank you. Huh? What's more important? What's the humankind looking for? Okay, love, yes. Intention, yes.
Prosperity.
What's that?
Prosperity.
Prosperity, yes. But it's more important than prosperity. You believe it or not.
Continuation of
Happiness, health,
Happiness, health. Good, good, good. Yeah.
wealth,
Wealth. Wealth.
necessity.
Turkish coffee.
Turkish coffee? Thank you. Thank you. I'm gonna be so pissed if there's no coffee in paradise. If I go to paradise. Knowledge.
Knowledge.
The third one is knowledge. Believe it or not, people are very much attracted to knowledge. Even some people think that Adam's apple, the first apple that takes us out from the paradise, symbolizes knowledge. So we were after knowledge. We always are, or have been, or will be after knowledge. But is it a problem? Why is this the third valley? Why they're gonna get lost with the knowledge?
Because they ignore it.
They what?
They ignore it.
They ignore the knowledge. These guys don't ignore the knowledge, but there's a difference. There's a different problem. What is it?
Kibir.
Kibir is right, but tell me about it. Why is that kibir?
Because if you know a lot, so
If you know a lot,
Yeah.
that gives you the ego that your the nefs is gonna go up.
They are enough.
Yeah, they thought they knew everything.
Yeah,
No,
they
they
know
don't want to
everything.
take the responsibility. It's a scary thing sometimes.
These guys want the knowledge. These guys want the knowledge, but once they get the knowledge, they think it's their selves. Socrates says, I'm going to give you, I think Socrates is one of the really, really important Sufis. One of the most important Sufis of all time. He says, all I know is the fact that I don't know anything. Right?
Even I don't know that.
Even I don't know that. Right?
My favorite.
The only thing I know is that I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the most knowledgeable person of all time, Socrates? Why would he say something like that? I don't know anything. What is the problem with that? Why does he say that? I guess.
There's so much to know.
There's so much to know. That's one thing. I always go with that. Yeah.
The more you know, the better you understand how little you know.
That's perfect. But there's one more thing there's one more thing in that equation. Okay. He said, there's no way that I know everything. Because there's so much things going on. There's no way that I know. That's one thing. I'll take it. There's one other thing. There's one other thing that I think he was saying something. My English is really bad. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if this is it, but no, there's a distinction between knowledge and wisdom. Like
Good.
knowing-
Okay. Well, that's another thing. That's a third thing, but I'm asking for something else, actually. He says,
Is it obsession?
obsession?
Like going after just pure knowledge for sake of knowledge? Not necessarily
Could be. That works. But there's another thing. There's another.
Akılla bulamıyorsun çünkü.
Akılla bulamıyorsun. Bu da olabilir.
Maybe if you feel you know everything and then you don't want to know the
What if I say this? I don't know.
you want to learn more or you want to know.
Who is the one that has the knowledge?
Because, yeah, that's true.
Am I the one who knows No. There is knowledge somewhere, right? If I say it belongs to me, that means I don't know anything. That's not right. The knowledge is there. I have a channel that I can access the knowledge anytime I want. But that doesn't mean it belongs to me. Knowledge doesn't belong to anybody but God. Because God is the only one who is the knowledge. But I am so smart that I can have an access to that knowledge anytime I want. As long as I don't say I own the knowledge. The minute that I say I own the knowledge is going to get away from me. So that's why I think he said, the only thing I know is I don't know. The emphasis on this is I. I. It's not I, it's him. Anytime I want, I can ask him to lend me the knowledge. But the minute that I say it belongs to me, it's no longer mine. So a lot of birds get lost during that transition because they think that they know everything, or they think they know it. So they get lost. Okay. Well, the fourth one. So now we have less and less birds going to the journey. The fourth one.
Death.
Death. Okay, well, we're not there just. We will be there. We will be there. Okay.
Well,
The what? Wealth?
yeah.
Wealth is so down. It's just, we have love after that. We have knowledge.
I know as they go up, they burn. Is it like the burning?
Not yet,
level
not
now?
yet. At least you read my book.
No.
You sound,
Not
you
yet.
sound like you're reading. There's fire in somewhere.
The beauty, is it
The
the beauty?
beauty?
Is it? Yeah.
No, it's
Reflection.
beauty is on the love side of things. We're past that. We're past that. We're past the love. We're past the knowledge. It's more than that. It gets to a point that you're it's like you say enough, right? It's like content. It's just I'm done with this. It's too much, you know. You get to a valley this is enough, and that's bad for the birds because the birds should say this is not enough for me. I need to more. I need to go to, I need to go to Simurg. I need to touch him. I need to be with him. Right?
Will?
What's
Is
that?
it the will?
It's not the will, but it's for like, what do you call that? It's
Resignation.
satisfaction. Yeah, satisfaction. I'm done. You know, this is enough. Content. Yeah. Okay. The fifth valley. The fifth valley. This is, by the way, this is getting better. Better. Every step it's getting better. This is actually symbol, by the way. What it symbolizes, it's the level of egos, the level of nefs. The first level, the second level, the third level, fourth level. The fifth level is up there, basically. Right? Again, this is not the journey of the birds. This is the journey of ours. We are doing that journey. This is going to get a little bit difficult, more difficult when we come to these levels. So I'm going to tell these. Unity. The fifth valley is unity. That means when you look at things, no longer there is a duality. There's only oneness. And a lot of birds cannot handle that. The unity is very difficult to handle. Why? The unity is very difficult to handle, I guess.
Truth.
How do we know duality and how do we know unity? Which organs that we use to understand duality and which organ do we use to understand unity? I guess.
Our
Heart.
What's that?
Heart.
Heart,
ego and mind.
ego, and mind. What's that for?
Because in order to understand unity, you have to have duality.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But in
wonderful.
reality, there's no duality because everything is united, basically.
You said the thing. You're right. You're 100% right. From which point of view? Which organ?
Which organ decides to
Which
that?
organ decides that? You said it perfectly.
Brain.
Brain,
Mind.
mind,
I.
brain. So the brain is good for understanding the duality. But heart is the organ that understands the unity. If they don't work together side by side, it is very difficult. We understand perfectly duality. We may be very smart, right? We understand duality. But if we don't use our hearts, that means we're never going to be able to understand the unity. Because duality means, okay, well, this is bigger, this is smaller, right? I understand that because I can make a comparison. That's brain, that's mind. Once all of them are the same, once there's only unity, the brain is not going to be able to understand it. Because brain has to be able to compare things to be able to understand. So that's where the heart gets into the place. And if they cannot work with their hearts, they're never going to be able to understand unity. Am I making myself clear? Okay. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, this is a question I've been thinking about since I was in college, like over 20 years, but there's something in us that, like, the root cause of like all of our suffering, all of our, that just propels us to constantly seek things out, you know, to try to find one thing or another.
So, unity in the fifth valley, and then we have the sixth valley. That's even higher up in the level. It's called Ao. Ao. Am I saying this right? Ao. 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 Yeah, wow. Right? Awesome. Awesome. So the birds, they now, from the unity, they go back to, they again get into the duality now. Now they're saying that, oh, this is incredible. This is beautiful. So they get lost in that valley of awesome, right? Because they can't handle it. It's just so awesome, you know. Once they hit the seventh valley, that's the most important valley, obviously. What is that?
Losing everything.
Nothingness. Nothingness is the seventh valley. There is just nothing. Nothing. Now, the way that the Sufis explain that is basically, in the beginning of this conversation, I said we're all like mirrors. And the Sufis, they go to this hadith, which is Prophet Muhammad's saying, one of his sayings. He says, God said, I was hidden treasure. I was a hidden treasure. I want to be known. That's the hadith with Prophet Muhammad. So to be able to do that, from the nothingness, he created this mirror. And each of us comes from that mirror. Almost like he created the mirror, and as soon as he created the mirror, he broke it. Now we're all pieces of those mirror, right? So we have a reflection of God in ourselves. However, the problem is our mirrors are not perfect, which means when you look at the mirror, there's like a dirt on top of that. And mirrors are usually our hearts. When we look at our hearts, it's just like dirt on it. Why there is dirt on it? Because of the hate, right? Because of the hatred that we have, because of the prejudice, because of the jealousy. Yes, thank you. Because of the desires we have, because of the lust, right? Lying, all those things, they accumulate. Greed, all those things accumulate on top of the mirror. So now, to be able to clean the mirror, we have to clean it, get rid of all those things. And once we hit the perfect mirror, now we can actually reflect the reflection of Himself, God, right? That's a perfect mirror. That's when it comes to nothingness. Because if there's nothingness in yourself, that means God basically takes over, right? If you're nothing, then you're everything. Meaning because God takes over. So that's the seventh valley. Anyway, all those birds, they get eliminated during the journey. We only have 30 birds remaining. We have 30 birds remaining. Now the 30 birds, they passed all those 7 valleys. They're so excited they're going to be seeing the king, the birds, Simurg, or Phoenix, or Zümrüt Anka, whatever. They go into a room waiting for a Simurg to show up, and there's no Simurg. There's no Phoenix. What do they find? A mirror. A mirror. Let me see if I have the illustration of that. Well, see, the illustration, it was like that, right? These guys over there, 30 birds. 30 birds. The 30 birds get together in a way, they look at themselves in the mirror, and they see only one bird. And that's what Simurg is. So that means the 30 birds together, they passed all those valleys, and they were able to clean their mirrors, basically. There's no lust, there's no jealousy, there's no hatred, there's no lying, there's no... All those other birds got eliminated during the process. They got eliminated. Only 30 of them pass. Now, all those 30 birds, they get together, they're now Simurg himself. Simurg in Persian, well, see, that's the interesting thing that the author did at that time. Si means 30, Murg means bird. Actually, he already told us in the beginning of the story. Simurg means 30 birds. Well, but the good thing is, once they get together, there is no, for instance, like if there is a bird, like let's say we have a hawk, right? The hawk has a special thing going on. What is, he has really good eyesight, right? Now, this eyesight belongs to Simurg. Now, we have other birds, they all have different characteristics. Now, Simurg has those characteristics. This is like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie 300, the movie 300? The Roman, or the Spartans. That's how the Romans work, actually. That's how the Romans won so many battles. The way that they can attack, the way that they can build an army, right? It's a group of guys together. They have a way of setting up their army. They have like 5 people in front of the whole group of people. They have their shields. They put the shields. The first row of the people, they put the shields, the soldiers. And the second row put the shields on top of that. And on the right hand side, on the left hand side, and the behind, right? If they want to attack, the first guys, they open up their shields and the spears go in, and then they attack, and then they, again, the first row takes the shields down, okay? And these guys are like 20, 30 people. They can win the battles against 1,000 people because they work together as if they're just like one person. And these guys are coming from all kinds of different geographical areas, religions, they're different kind of states, they're different kind of people, even they don't look like each other, but they work together. And that's how they win their wars or battles, because they're always together, although they're different. They're totally different. But they work as like a machine, just one. And it always makes me wonder the word religion, right? Where does this word religion come from? Have you ever heard where it comes from? Have you ever thought about where the religion comes from? The word religion.
Legion.
Yeah. Re means again, right? Legion is like these guys together. So religion is like that, you know? Recreating the legion, right? And that's not what we do when we think about religion. Religion is like, my religion is better than your religion. But that defeats the purpose, right? That's so stupid. Because the word itself, it says, recreating the legion. Togetherness. Right? And that's exactly what these 30 birds did. And that's how they meet their God. They realize it's themselves who actually, when they become together, that makes them actually, nothing or everything. Anyway, so that's what Feridettin Attar did. I copied that. Pretty much when I wrote this book, I copied what he said and I tried to modernize it. And so what I did is basically, I asked every bird, the 30 birds, to tell a story. So now I have 30 stories that I put in my book. I hope you read it. And that's the story of 30 birds. Okay. Any questions? Did I talk too much? Can we read one of the stories? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And Sure.
Which is your favorite story?
Which is my
If
favorite
you have
story? I think the first story was my favorite story because I made that. The first story is the story of what do we call it? What do we call it? The guides. The Hoopy. My favorite bird is Hoopy because he is the guide. In Sufism, we always have a guide. The guide actually guides us throughout the process, throughout the journey. And it is a story from Quran that I made the Hoopy tell. And the story goes like, there are three guys, they get stuck in a cave. You know, we have a lot of cave stories in both Bible and Quran. They get stuck in the cave and they were asked to tell a story of goodness, something they did well in this world. And every time they tell the story of goodness, basically the cave was blocked with a stone. The rock moves a little bit. So when the third man tells the story, it opens up. That's the story of the Hoopy. And I make that story to make 30 birds to tell a story so they can open the gate of the Simurg. So that's why that was my favorite story as well.
I'm so glad you said that, and I want to comment one thing. Like, I feel like that story in itself is such a metaphor for life.
Yep.
Because there was if the news didn't report the negativity, and if it just reported the positive things, I mean, when news reports negativity, what happens? People's anxiety goes up. They get fearful of each other. It actually closes up people's hearts towards each other. And like sometimes we would talk with my friends when I was younger. Like if the news just reported positive things, right? There were just channels, even to counterbalance some of it.
God forbids.
God forbid, right?
God forbids the news say good things. Because otherwise, how is the health industry going to make money? How are people going to make money at all? You know, if everybody says good things, and that's what the Sufis, a lot of Sufis got killed because of that, because they're promoting the good things, right? Promoting a good thing is not a good thing in this world. Because there's a lot of money to be made if we say bad things, if we propagate bad things. But on the other hand, there's always a balance. From the duality point of view, there has to be a balance in this world. And it's like more like a chemical thing, or it's like do you know atom? An atom, it has negativity and positivity. It's an electron that we call it negative, and the proton that we call it positive. The proton is always in the middle of things, and the electron is always propagating, right? And there's always a negative and positive connection between them, but they're always equal. So although we think that negativity is out there and there's much more negativity than positivity, it's not possible, because they have to be equal. The forces have to be equal. You know that the number of, how do I say that? In Quran, the words, the number of angels, that God says, this many angels in the world. I think it's 114, as far as I remember. So there are 114 times angels in Quran. There are 114 times Satan in Quran. So when you look at things in Quran, you're going to see they're always equal, the positive and negative. But when we look at things from outside, as if the negative things are out there and positive things are not as much, but that's not how it works. So they're more like electrons and protons. Protons are hidden in the middle, and electrons are propagating all over the world. So it looks like the negatives are much, much, much more, but it's not like that. Can't be. Yes.
just want to build on that positivity. Today I was just talking to someone in Turkey, and I mentioned positive psychology. So one of my professors at Chicago, along with a professor from Wharton, came up with that. Well, he was not treated that well. The one in Chicago, Wharton, did a little bit better. But like, the person that I was talking to in Turkey had never heard of anything like positive psychology. So definitely they are out there, but it's a matter of, I guess, finding that balance.
Absolutely. The balance is there. It's just it looks like, it's like negative. Oh, it's now everybody is thinking that, oh, this is like the worst century. Now our kids are in a really, really bad situation. And I was reading a scholar talking about Sumerians. Sumerians in year, 5,000 before BC, like BC, right? They found a tablet, they found a thing that is written, our kids are in a really bad situation right now. They were complaining about the kids. Yeah. That's like, yeah. It's like the worst. So it's always the same. The time doesn't change. It's the same time every time. But we think that negatives are much worse than the positive. But it's not like that. So there's always hope. There's always good things. There's always
duality.
There's always duality. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeah.
It's like a good Star Wars movie.
It's like a good Star Wars movie. There's always a beginning of the movie. And, no problem.
You mentioned about the
Broken mirrors? Uh-huh.
According to why the mirror is dirty?
Why there's dirt in the mirror? Well, God works in mysterious ways. Everybody says that. Yeah. That's the easy answer, right? God works in mysterious ways. Well, He wants us to actually fix that dirt. Basically, there is like no pain, no gain kind of deal. We have to be able to fix that dirt to be able to reflect the actual reflection Himself. Why it started like that? That's the original question, right? If it doesn't start it that way, right? In Quran, God says, if the people were perfect, the people on this earth were perfect, I would have destroyed them and created the ones that are actually faulty. Because here's the deal. You have three types of creations, basically. The animals, the human, then the angels. Let's say we have, and since I'm more like a mathematician kind of guy, I always say, okay, we have 100%, we have like 50% nefs, ego, and 50% spirit, ruh. Okay? When it comes to animals, it's 99% nefs and 1%, let's say, spirit. When we go to angels, we have 99% spirit, 1% nefs. We are right in between those two creations, right? But in Quran it says human is better than other creations, right? Why? There's an angel, 99%, let's say even 100% spirit. That means he does everything that God says, but nothing else. And we have animals on the other side. They have full nefs, right? And then we're in between. But we are better than the others. Why? We have the potential. We have the potential to improve. So He likes that. God likes the fact that if we actually use our intellect to improve, then we're better than the other creations. So that's why we start with the dirty mirrors. You follow? Okay.
I also want to add something. I personally think it's the purpose of life to find ourselves.
That's right.
You know, that's the purpose.
Right, right.
It's a journey. It's the road
It's a journey.
you take.
Right, right.
And God give you everything that you need.
Right,
It's a matter of you taking responsibility
right,
and using what we have, which we
Right.
can say the old knowledge,
right.
and take action.
That's right. The problem is, when we take the action, we usually make a journey outside. But the actual thing that we need to do is the journey inside, the inside journey. There's a Greek mythology story that goes like, when the Prometheus gives fire to people, they get like now the people are almost equal to gods, and gods were really upset with that. The gods of Olympia, they were really upset with that, and they said, we have to take these fire from them and put it somewhere that they cannot find. When we say fire, that means ourselves actually, what we really have in ourselves, the fire. So Zeus says, let's put it on top of the sky, and that they can't find it over there. The other Olympia god said, no, they can find it in the sky. And Poseidon, the god of the seas, he says, let's put it under the sea. The other says, well, they can find it in the sea. So they put it in a place that they think the humans would never be able to find inside themselves, right? So the journey has to be done into ourselves.
My experience in this is I have everything God has, all the power and the knowledge. My responsibility on that journey to finding every step and making myself in a better way, like the best version of myself.
Absolutely.
We have all the tools, everything out there
Right.
for us.
Right. You have the potential. You have everything in yourself.
Exactly. And I think the meaning of life, sometimes in conversations they say, what's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of, you doing this or this?
Right, right.
With this, the purpose is God wants us to find in ourselves
Right.
that we are made of Him completely.
Right.
Every qualities
Right.
and the powers and everything you name it, He has.
Right.
That we talk about.
Right.
We all have it. My responsibility to finding in me that I have.
Well, the Sufis, it's exactly like this, but the Sufis say it differently. The Sufis say, okay, well, God, you said, we all have all the capabilities,
I mean,
or whatever. We have the potential.
Potential. Yes, like
Right.
in
It's almost like that. It's almost like that. But the Sufi says, once we make ourselves nothing, then the God takes over. Once God takes over,
I'm nothing.
I'm everything.
You are.
Right now I'm everything because God takes over. But the problem is, if I put anything from myself into the equation, then God doesn't take over. And there's a problem with that. Once you become nothing, then He takes over. Which is the exact same thing that you said in a different way. In a different way. Anything else?
And what about the experiences that we deal with day to day? Like,
Well, I say, yeah, that's the problem. I'm very good with making philosophy. Talking about philosophy. It's very difficult to make these things practical. You need to talk to my mother. that's her job. But everything else, there's MasterCard.
Maybe we can discuss it. Personally, I believe that it's like bodybuilding. You go to gym and then you
Right.
you do some workout
Exactly.
to make this
Right.
arms stronger.
Right.
And then you continue. Then you make your legs stronger.
Right.
And then your back or whatever. We have a composition of
Right.
multiple muscles which
Right.
I resonate to the attributes of the God.
Absolutely.
There's
Absolutely.
99 names of the God, so each of them are like different muscles that needs to work in harmony and together to make a strong person. If a person having just legs very strong, but the other parts, other muscles are not so balanced, could be so weak.
Right.
Uh,
Absolutely. This is. I look at this from the same perspective. It's like bodybuilding. It's like bodybuilding. There's a lot of pain. There's no pain, no gain. Sure. And persistency. You have to be persistent. Like for instance, in my classes, when I always finish the class, we have every week a class, and like say Monday, we say at the end of the class, I say next 7 days, we're not gonna lie. If any of you guys lie, then you're gonna tell us in the you're gonna tell us. It's hard. Of course, it's hard. I have lawyers in my class. Imagine that. Imagine that. So every Monday we have this exercise. Next Monday, these people come, almost like have tears in their eyes. They say, "Well, I lied because of this and that." Now, next week we do the same thing. Every week it gets better. Less and less people say, I haven't lied this week. I didn't lie this week, because it's like a conscious thing. Now, first of all, when you're about to lie, you have this thing. If I lie right now, I have to tell this thing in the next class, and that's disturbing, and that's I should not lie. That's like an exercise. We keep doing these exercises. And like you said, it's like a bodybuilding. And at the end of like 6 months, people stop lying. This is a real thing. And we do the same thing with other stuff like jealousy, or they just hate, right? Or I don't know, things like that. So if you're like really persistent, at the end of the day, you basically get rid of them. And it's like those birds getting eliminated during the journey. And that's how we go there, cleaning up the hearts. Cleaning. It's like almost like scrubbing. And at the end of a couple months, at the end of a couple years maybe, you get better. And that's something we really need to do day-to-day business. Yeah.
I was just thinking, like, humans also, like, we're unique because we have free will.
Yes.
Right? And so free will doesn't make sense unless you're exerting it to do good, to choose good over
Right.
evil, right? Because
Right.
we're kind of like, it's the easier, I don't want to say it's the default, but we're inclined to seek out goodness, but it's easier for us to do vice,
Right.
or to fall. So it's interesting. I think it comes with that, maybe the responsibility,
Right.
or the having that.
Free will is the one that makes us better than the other animals and the angels, because that's how we become better,
Right.
right? Or worse.
Right.
Free will can work both ways, obviously. But like you said, free will makes sense if we make good things. And that's what Socrates or even Plato says. The first thing that was created in the whole universe was goodness. That's what God created first, the goodness. So everything else is actually false. Goodness is the only thing that actually was true in the beginning, right? So the goodwill works that way, with that principle. basically. Yes?
And maybe I'm not aware of the culture. When we are in America and we fall in love with movies, it's maybe like when after college or maybe in our 40s. How do you practically teach this to your children or in the school system for a teacher? How do you not, is it possible not to have the heart be darkened by all of these things? Like, can you, is it possible? For
No.
teachers to train their children?
Of course. Well, we're trying that, but it's very difficult, obviously, yes. Like she said, you know, people saying bad things every day, you know, it's propagating these negative things. But see, the way that Rumi explains this is the heart is like a castle. And in the castle, there's always one king. In our castle, we have several kings trying to take over the control. The jealousy, hate, and this and that, and all those are kings in our castle. Rumi says, if love, there's a king called love. If he takes over the castle, he's he's just like, he kills everybody. He doesn't let anybody to live. He doesn't let anybody to live other than himself. So, and when love takes over, then there's nothing else. If we can teach that, if it's possible to teach that to kids, that's perfect. But that's Rumi's way of explaining how love is. In Turkish or in Arabic, the word is aşk. Aşk is, the word aşk comes from the word ivy. Ivy, the plant. The way that the plant works is basically the plant goes in and takes over, and you don't see anything but the ivy in a very short time, because the ivy takes over, and that's what aşk means. Aşk takes over. When love takes over, there's nothing else. No jealousy, no nothing, no greed, no lust, no nothing. Can we explain that to children? I don't know.
We did some experiments in California years ago. It was actually mostly driven by the Zen Buddhists through the meditation, but we had some Sufi, but American Sufi approach or American kind of stuff, but we tried that maybe 15 years ago.
Right. There are a lot of methods depending on the geographical, cultural situation in that area. But Rumi's way is very good because everybody liked it at the end of the, and now a lot of people think Rumi is really good, and he is really good actually when it comes, because, like he said, ashq or love is the only reality, and if it's really if we can make it work, really, it's very powerful, I think.
How could you love it? How could you love the bad things?
How could you love the bad things?
Is it possible, or we have to kill it, or we have to
okay.
love it?
To be able to explain that, I'm gonna talk about the Sufi in Turkey a while ago, 1500s. His name is Musa, and he was this guy who had a teacher. The teacher asks a question. He says, if God gives you power, what would you do? So the students answer the question. The first one says, okay, well, if there are like 1,000 murderers in this world, I get rid of them, right? And then the second guy says, if there are 1,000 burglar, I get rid of them. And the third one says 1,000 rapers around the world, I get rid of them. So it goes on and on and on, and then they have this Musa guy. He says, what would you do? The teacher asks, and he says, the 1,000 murderers that this guy sent get rid of, I take them back. The 1,000 rapers, I take them back. all those people, the students, whoever sent all those guys, he took it back because he thinks everything is in the center. Everything works perfectly. So, and the teacher calls him Merkez, which is the center, and his name became Simerkez. The moral of the story is basically God works in a perfect way. The fact that we don't know, we don't see it that way, it's our problem. So we may not be able to love the rapers, the bad people, but we understand that there is a reason for everything. And the way that we explain it is we say there are physics and metaphysics, okay? We have two parts, physics and metaphysics. In the metaphysics, we have a perfect body, okay? And we all represent one part of the body, okay? Let's say you are representing the face of that body, and I'm representing the
Brain.
no, I would not represent the brain.
Leg.
Arm. Something in, maybe like something bad. Intestines. Intestines are good. See, that's the thing. Exactly. I'm gonna make it good. And in this perfect body, everything is good, right? Everything works perfectly. But as an intestines, I come to this world. What do? I shit. And there's a face, right? And when people see me as a shitter, they're not gonna like me, and they're gonna say, this guy is bad, you know. And if God gives them the opportunity to make it happen, you know, they probably would get rid of me because I'm bad from that perspective. But when everything goes back to the metaphysics, and there's no body that's going to work without intestines, right? The body is not going to be able to work without the intestines. So that makes the intestines actually good, as much as other organs altogether. But taking intestines as it is, put it in this world, looks like it's bad. You follow me? So loving an intestines is another normal thing. But actually it's a normal thing. If you think from the metaphysical point of view, it's perfect. But we can't see it because we don't see the unity. We always see things separately. We have the tendency, because that's how the brain works. See, Rumi says, don't let the brain work. Let the heart work. Right?
So, question. Let's say I'm in a position where I hate all the supposed bad things, right? Where am I in terms of my my journey to reaching out Simurg, which reality that I'm in?
Yeah, perfect. See, okay, there are levels. How do I explain these levels? Okay, there's a story about how I explain the levels. We have in Sufism, we say there are 4 levels actually. We say Shariat, Tariqat, Hakikat, Marifat. Shariat means basically the lowest level when it comes to, you know, when somebody does something bad to you, you have the right to react, right? So, 2 guys, they're hitting each other, okay? One guy hits the other one. The second guy hits it back. That's the first level, okay? That's Sharia. The second case, the first guy hits the other guy looks at the guy who hit him, but doesn't do anything, okay? That's the second level. The third level of Hakika is the guy hits him, and he doesn't look at the other guy, he doesn't do anything, basically, no reaction. The fourth scenario, the guy hits the other guy, and the other guy kisses the hand of the guy who actually hits him. Okay? There are 4 levels. The first level is Sharia. You have the right, if somebody does something bad to you, you have the right to react. That's Sharia. So that's the first level. The second level is the guy who was hit. He knows that it was from God, because there is nobody else but God. So everything comes from God. So that means that hit comes from God. But he wanted to see who the person who was the mediator. Right. The third one, he knows that everything comes from God. He doesn't do shit. He doesn't do anything. Right? Because he's so competent. He knows. And the fourth one, he knows it was done by God. But the guy who hit him actually did something bad, and he's going to probably be punished by God. So he kisses his hand and apologizes for him, because he had done that because of him. So now those are 4 different scenarios. You can be in any of these things, in any of these levels. And you were saying that you hate everybody?
No, I hate the bad. I hate the bad.
You hate the bad.
I hate the sins. If I hate all of that.
You're pretty much like between the first level and the second level.
That's not me, guys.
Yeah, no. So, hypothetically.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean, the idea is, in Sufism it says, okay, it's like a puppet thing. The puppets, puppet show. It's the puppet show. There's a master of puppets, we all know. And then all the puppets are basically controlled by him. So if you see the puppets as a power doing stuff by himself, then you're wrong. But it's not wrong in a way that I can't say you're wrong. But from the perspective of Sufism, there's a master of puppet who does everything, who's responsible for everything, and everybody else is a puppet. Yeah.
I don't know, a little bit from your family history, if I may. I don't know if I may not be telling it correctly, but I think it was your grandma.
Yeah.
When your father, I think, or your mother's father, I think your grandpa, when he was taken by cops.
Yes.
Your grandma basically went and prayed.
Yes.
Thank God for that.
Yes, my grandma was not a normal person, yes.
That just stayed with me.
It was funny that we were robbed. There was a burglary in our house. Then my grandmother was saying, well, the person who robbed us probably needed money. Right, more than us. Yes. More than us.
Totally live by example.
Exactly, I mean, that's, yeah, they're different.
I think it's also like seeing, recognizing other people's journeys as well. So when something happens, it's by divine decree to an extent, right?
Right.
And so acknowledging or seeing how that person's on their journey, right? Like this is, maybe they're going to reform, maybe they're going to change, maybe they're, it's a shared experience, right? It's not just about me when something
Right.
to
Right, that is true.
Because sometimes, one event can happen, right? And it can affect maybe 50 people, maybe 50 million people, right? At one time. And everyone, and this is the beauty, I think, when I reflect on it sometimes, I think the beauty of God, that everyone is getting the exact lesson they're supposed to learn at that time from that one event, and they're all different, right? And the orchestration of that, building up to that lesson, to that whatever they take away from that experience, it's just incredible. Like it's exponentially infinite and sort of spectacular.
That's where the level of awesomeness, the awe, exactly, the higher. All right. Sorry. Sure.
Our friend I heard from.
Did he just leave?
No, no, he's kidding.
Oh, okay. Maybe you don't like the
Constanza.
I heard from Kerim Guc that he was giving an example in one of her speeches that you need to isolate the act and the person.
That's very true. That is very true. This is actually the answer of your question. My mother, she's saying, your mother said this. Your answer is not that good. So your mother said that you have to separate the person and the act. So you can complain about the act, you can hate the act, but you can't complain about the person, or you can't hate the person. So hate as much as you can the act itself, but don't hate people, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have.
That's a better answer.
It's personal. When
Right.
you hate
Don't make things personal. Don't make this personal. And we have a really nice story of one of Prophet Muhammad's best men, Ali, was fighting in a battle. Right? He's fighting in the name of God, and this guy who is gonna lose the fight, he spits on Ali. So as soon as he spits on him, Ali stops the fight with him, and he fights with somebody else. But the guy was actually surprised, and he said, "Why would you stop fighting against me? You almost killed me." And Ali says, "I was fighting against you in the name of God. As soon as you spit on me, now my ego started working, basically. If I fight against you now, that means I fight because of my ego, no longer in the name of God, or So that's exactly what she says. Basically, if it's the act, then you go for it. But if it's the person himself, take it personally, then it's because of your ego rather than your. So don't hate people. All right. You can drink and eat now. How's the situation with your ego?